Hello everyone, welcome back to our webinar series. So we are actually starting a whole new group of webinars moving forward that we're going to do focusing on Sri Lanka. And this is the first in the kind of group of all of the ones that we'll be doing, which is to focus on the Pekoe Trail. And I'm joined today by Sanka, who's our general manager in Sri Lanka. And he'll go through all the details of the trail and this particular experience. But yeah, before we get into that, I just wanted to, first of all, speak again about obviously how we're really trying to push Sri Lanka as much as possible and kind of ease everyone's country is going, because it is obviously still kind of a topic of discussion. Some people seem like they're still a bit unsure about how to sell it or how to explain to clients what it's like there at the moment. So some of you might have been on our other webinar, which we did covering the Aman properties. And I mentioned then as well that, yeah, quite a few of us have been to Sri Lanka from the London team a couple times in the last 9 months. And since obviously all the political things kind of happened in sort of May and June last year, yeah, sort of start of the year, there were a few things happening, a few protests and all that kind of stuff, which is, I guess, when all these worries about Sri Lanka started to happen. Yeah, I've been twice myself, and since then, honestly, everything has been absolutely back to normal. Things are working out in the country in terms of the government and all that kind of stuff, so it is obviously still a bit of a work in progress, but so is the UK, and so is many places in the world, I think we can all agree. So in terms of safety for tourism and for clients, I definitely cannot say enough how normal and safe Sri Lanka is. So if you do have any questions or inquiries and you just want to have a bit of extra assurance basically to pass on to your clients, then definitely reach out to us because the whole team go to Sri Lanka quite often. We've got a few more fam trips going out there this year with other members of the Res team going from London and from other places in the world. So yeah, we're going to keep kind of giving you accounts firsthand from everyone on how they're finding things. And also, if you follow us on Instagram, or if you don't yet, then please jump over to our page. It's just Hummingbird Travel is the account name, and I've just posted some stories covering my last trip. I went there a couple of weeks ago, so if you wanted to have a look at that, just covering some of the properties we went to, yeah, that could be helpful for any of your inquiries. So I'll hand over to Sri Lanka now. I'm sorry, to Sanka, who will chat about the Pekoe Trail. And yeah, please do feel free to ask questions throughout and we can answer them at the end.
Thanks, Liv. So welcome everyone, and thanks for your time in joining us for this webinar. So Pekoe Trail actually is gaining popularity, and we thought we would do this webinar because there are so many questions that are coming in from agents asking, what is Pekoe Trail? So can we do Pekoe Trail? So are all the stages open right now? So today we'll be focusing on the hiking part of Sri Lanka. So as you know, Sri Lanka is very famous for culture, wildlife, hiking, and then beach, of course. So today it's solely going to be about the hiking and nature aspects of the country. So let's start off. What is Pekoe Trail? Yes, so it's a collection of 22 hiking trails. So when we say 300-kilometer hike, it sounds like enormous, and then nobody can do 300-kilometer hike in one journey. So we are breaking it down into several stages actually. So before we start off, just understand, if your clients are asking about this, make sure that all 22 hiking trails are not mapped as of yet. So it's the USAID and then UNESCO who are mapping this, and then they are the ones who are behind creating this trail. And today, for this webinar purposes, we'll be focusing on 8 of those trails which have been mapped, and then we have researched on them, and then we have come up with a plan actually. So without further ado, let's look at the map. So this is the central highlands of Sri Lanka. As you can see in the map, It has Kandy, Norelia, Hatton, Alda, Haputale, Houghton Plains. So we would be, so if somebody is going to do the whole 300 kilometers, it's going to be snaking around in these small villages and then main cities. So yeah. So before we start off, let's have a look at a small video clip. So why we are doing this is because we are predominantly talking about scenery. So I mean, like I thought, rather than me telling it's so beautiful, it's amazing, the views are really cool, I would show you a small 2-minute video clip. So we will watch this 2-minute video clip twice. So why we are doing that is because first of all, I want you to experience and then see what the whole video is all about. And then after that, I will break it down I will break down the video into telling you little things that you need to know when it comes to promoting the Pekoe Trail. So let me put this on resolution.
Sorry about the no sound, everyone. I think there was just a bit of a glitch with the sound, but you get the idea, hopefully.
Sorry about that. So let me just showcase some of the things that you need to see in this video. And okay, so as you can see, this is not for those who are having walking disabilities. So the pathway is uneven, and then you are going through very rustic, very scenic, and very beautiful. But still, you need to have some kind of a walking. I mean, like you need to be a good hiker. I mean, you don't need to be a pro, but still a good hiker. And of course, you'll be going through certain villages where you would be enjoying what local lifestyle has to offer. And then you'll be eating local food and then eating drinks. As you can see, you'll be going through tea plantations as well. And then you can join in with the tea ladies in tea plucking. Yes, the paths not being uneven because you will be snaking through and then you will be going through certain mountain areas as well. And the whole purpose behind the Pekoe Trail from USAID and UN is to help the locals as well. So the pathway takes you through certain these kind of shrubbery areas, forest patches where, as you can see, it is not even again. So that's what I wanted to showcase to you. Let's move on. Okay, so how can we put Pekoe Trail into an itinerary. So here I have a 13 nights hiking itinerary. So not everyone would want to hike for like 8 to 10 days. So therefore, I have broken the itinerary down into 2 stages. Part 1 is with stages 1, 2, 3, and 4. And part 2 would be from stages 13, 14, 15, and 16. So these are the 8 stages that are already open, that have been mapped, that can be hosted for us. And yes, so some of the hotels that we would be we would be sending our guests to would be, I mean, like you would arrive in Colombo and then go to Kandy, stay over at Kandy House, and then do the stage 1, stay over at Ellerton, stage 2, stay over at TN Experience Hotel. So I'll be going into more detail about the hotels and then the stages in the coming slides. So if you feel that one-nighters are not enough, which is the case, then definitely, depending on the client's budget and then how many days the clients have, we can extend the stays into 2 or 3 nights depending on what they want. So the program goes on, and then since we are jumping from stage 4 to stage 13, we are taking the train to go to Haputale and then staying over at Totlagala for a couple of nights and then starting the journey again. Only at one stage we would be backtracking. That is only because of the accommodation option. So as you know, we need to have at least a minimum of 3-star to 4-star accommodation for your type of guest to stay in. So because of that, there would be like a 20 to 30-minute drive that you'll be driving on the same road that you hike. So that is the only place that it will happen. So just for you to make a note of that. And then we will finish off at 9 Skies in Demodara, and then after that you can either go to Yala or stay a couple of nights on the beach and then back to the airport. Okay, so let's start. Stage number 1. So it will be from Hantana to Galaha. So Hantana is could be a familiar name for you because W15 in Kandy is located in Hantana. So Galaha is a not so famous name. So you will find that these kind of not so famous names being used in this Pekoe Trail a lot. So understand, I mean, like remembering these names, like if somebody asks, so what is stage 5 from where to where? So that could be a little bit of, that could take a little bit of your time to, you know, like remember these names because some of them are so long, some of them are new. So I mean, like over time you will get the hang of these names. So I have pointed out the starting point and the ending point of each of these locations. We do not recommend anybody doing these trails alone. Of course, the trails have been made so that you can do the trails on your own, but I will come to that point why we are saying you should not do these trails alone in a little bit. So today, the first stage would be from Silonti Museum in Hantana all the way to the Galaha Post Office. So yeah, I would not repeat the same phrases as so it's beautiful, it's so, you know, like the scenery is so nice, but I would just showcase what are the locations that they'll be passing through during this stage. So the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was shot in one of these locations that you will be passing. And then on a very clear day, you can see so many beautiful other places in the yonder, like Victoria Reservoir, Knuckles Mountain Range. And while you're hiking, you will be going through a meditation center as well. So just a small note that we put in our itinerary is saying that when you're passing through that meditation center, just keep your voices and your noise down because there'll be a lot of people meditating in those areas. So itinerary wise, we will be checking out of Kandy House after breakfast around 8:30, and then it's a 30-minute drive from Kandy House to the Silonti Museum in Hantana. And I must tell you, if somebody wants to stay over at W15 Kandy, that is also a possibility, but then you would be missing out on part of the hike because the road takes you closer to W15 Kandy, and then if somebody doesn't want to hike like 12.7 kilometers, then they can shave off like 4 kilometers and then do the rest of the hike from W15. So that is also another option. And then the chauffeur guide will drop you off at the Silonti Museum where you will meet your hummingbird hiking naturalist. And then the naturalist will have medical assistance with him. So there'll be a separate person who will be in charge of medical assistance, because we will be definitely going off-road and then going through the mountains, the tea bushes. So there's nothing dangerous, but still, like you could fall down. So therefore, we like to be prepared with that. So it's gonna take like 4 hours to complete the entire hike. So you leave around 8:30. That means 30 minutes drive to the starting place. So around 1 o'clock, you'll be done with the hike, and then it's a 20-minute drive from there to Ellerton Bungalow. So let's look at what Ellerton Bungalow is all about. Sorry about like several pictures being put in. I just thought like whether I should just put one picture so that it would look nice. But then I thought if somebody doesn't know Ellerton, I might as well put 2 or 3 pictures so that I can give you a better idea. So small boutique property, 9 bedrooms. They have 2 garden rooms, which are recommended. And as you can see from the picture below, that's the kind of view that you would get from the garden room. So I mean, like the entire valley just right in front of your room. And the closest railway station would be the Gampola railway station. So if you don't want to come to Kandy and then stay over at Kandy House, then you can take the train, or you can drive directly to Gampola, and then 25 minutes to Ellerton. So why I'm saying that is because not everybody would do this Pekoe Trail when it is included in your itineraries in the same order. Sometimes they might say it's 1, 2, and 4. Some might want to do 2 and 3. So likewise, you can map it. Oh, one thing I couldn't tell you in the previous slide is that the difficulty level is mentioned. Sorry, the difficulty level is mentioned in the slide as well. So the first stage is an easy one, and then we will go to the second stage, which is a moderate to challenging. So this will give you an idea of like how hard the hike is going to be. So from Ellerton, we start the next day. After breakfast, we start off, and then we drive to the Galaha post office, which is the place that we finished off on the day before. So it is a connecting, it is a connecting trail that goes from one place to the other, all the way through the 300 kilometers. Yeah. Okay, so today we will be hiking through a tea estate. So here if somebody wants to hike through a tea estate and then enjoy the views, so this stage would be the ideal one, because we will be going through the birthplace of Ceylon tea. So James Taylor brought in the first tea tree into Sri Lanka when the coffee plantations died off. And then this is the place where tea was introduced into Sri Lanka. So as you can see, this entire trail has a historical and heritage side to it as well. So we will be going through certain historical landmarks with regard to the hill country, like tea, and then local villages, local temples. So likewise, we would be experiencing those. It's a 14.6 kilometer hike, and it's going to take like 4.5 to 5 hours to finish the whole thing. And we would be starting a little bit early. 7:30 we will be leaving, and then 8 o'clock we will be starting the hike. And then we would be finishing off at a tea estate called Lul Kandara. So from here, it is a 1 hour 15-minute drive to your hotel where you'll be staying in, which is called Tea and Experience Factory. So I was here like 3 weeks back. I will explain about the property. Really beautiful property. So one might ask you, so why do we have to drive 1 hour 15 minutes to get to the hotel after a hike? So the answer is very simple, because we will be going through very rural areas, and then in these areas you don't have accommodation options that you can recommend. So the closest one that we have is 1 hour 15 minutes, but you wouldn't feel 1 hour 15 minutes, because you'll be driving through some pretty amazing and beautiful areas actually. Okay, so this is Tea and Experience Factory Hotel. So here it is actually an experience of living a night or staying a night inside an actual working tea plantation. So the bottom left corner picture is of that tea factory, and inside that tea factory you have these amazing rooms. So I would say stay away from the rooms that are downstairs. So there are two room categories based on where it is located: downstairs rooms and upstairs rooms. They have very local names, but I wouldn't bother you with those. So the first floor rooms have really good views, and then why I'm saying don't go for the ground floor rooms is because there is a small pathway that leads right next to the bedrooms windows. Sometimes people park their vehicles there, which is not a cool thing to look outside your room window and find a vehicle blocking the view. So go for the first floor rooms, and then they have some pretty amazing views from there. And then they have a heated pool outdoor as well, which adds to their USPs. Okay, so stage number 3. So we go back to Lulkandra Tea Estate, and then from there we start off the stage 3 journey. So of the 8 stages that we have, this is the most challenging one. So those who have done it, many people have said it is very difficult at the beginning. So for someone who likes a challenge, adventurous people, this is a must actually for them, because like I have highlighted, so during the first hour you will be gaining a 250-meter elevation from where you will be starting. So bring a change of clothes, because there'll be a couple of waterfalls that you'll be passing through as well. So if you want to jump in, take a bath to relax, so that could be a real nice one. And another thing is all our naturalists who will be your hiking guide as well will be carrying refreshments. So these refreshments can be, you can have these refreshments after a dip in the water, and then they will be passing through a small school. So what we do while we are passing through this school is, if it is a weekday, we try to include a small donation to the school. So where the clients will have a little bit of a difference, because I mean, like, rather than just hiking, so they will stop over at a small village school and then donate some school books. So nothing major, it's just that something small that they can do along the way. And something that is different is because they'll be going through some pine forest, and there'll be some rock formations in the background as well. And a little bit of a cultural aspect, heritage aspect actually. So a 150-year-old pathway, lost in time, you will be walking through that, which was used by the British for their horse carriages. And on a clear day, you can see Adams Peak. So Adams Peak is the holy mountain of Sri Lanka, which is part of the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka as well. And you will also have the chance to go towards Kotmale Reservoir. And after the hike, you can do, you will drive for 20 minutes to get to your hotel. Okay, so this is going to be your accommodation for the night. So this is called Lavender House. There are 5 bedrooms here, and amazing views. So I mean, like, I wanted this view so that I can show you the facilities, and the view on the other side looking out into the mountains is amazing. So you're looking at an entire mountain range, and the pool is not heated, mind you. And the land area for this property is huge, just 5 rooms. So there are so many lounging areas, and yeah, it's a nice place to be actually. Okay, moving on to stage 4, we are going from Tavalantanna to Kubal Oluwa. So as you can see, the name's starting to get weirder. So the name's starting to get longer as well. So these are the small village names that they have incorporated into the stages names. So here there is a small difference, because you'll be able to see some paddy, rice paddy cultivations, and then going through an estate. And then you will be able to see the Kotmale Dam as well. So the Kotmale Dam is the one in the picture, and then to create this dam in 1985, they had to sink an entire village. So they relocated everybody, and then there are 18 temples under this water body actually. So when the water level goes down, the temples start to come up, and then there is this amazing Buddha statue that never gets broken. Even after like 38 years, it still is intact. So it's pretty beautiful, because from time to time, the water level goes up and down, and then you can see all these ruins putting their heads out from the water. And moving on, you will be going next to an abandoned tea factory, and then it is a 10.8 kilometer hike, so which is going to take about three and a half hours. So all these hikes, as you can see, we are starting them in the morning and then finishing off somewhere around 1 o'clock ish in the afternoon, and then we are giving the guests time to relax in the evening. So again, it's a 1 hour 15-minute drive to Norelia, where Amaya property is at, which is called Lanka. So here the stage 4 is a moderate climb. Okay, so as you can see in the map, Norelia is towards right hand side, and then Langdale is 25 minutes away from the city. So since you are staying away from the city, the scenery is still beautiful, and then you are not looking at the roofs of another house. So yes, they have a small outdoor pool, and they have some beautifully done rooms as well. So they renovated the whole place like 5 years back, so now it looks really good. Okay, so why I said not to do the hikes alone. I mean, like, I'm not trying to freak you out where you're going to say, like, oh, Pekoe Trail is not for everybody, leopards are there. No, if you have been selling Sri Lanka, leopards, I mean, like, if you have been selling Sri Lanka and then sending your clients on hikes, leopards have been there all throughout. I mean, like, all the way in the mountains of Hatton, in Kandy, in Adams Peak. So the leopards are there all around. So why I said never send your guests alone is because when you're traveling solo, the leopards are not afraid of you. But when you're traveling in a group, like the hiking guide is there, the medical assistant is there, and then a couple of guests will be there as well. So it's a group. So always go with a hosted experience. Okay, so now we are done with the first 4 stages of the Pekoe Trail, and then I said we'll be taking the train. So I would like to explain a little bit of a luxury. It wouldn't be luxurious, but still a value addition that we came up with at Hummingbird for the train journey. So we introduced the concept of train butler. So the train butler is somebody who would be traveling with the guests, because we understood that we were missing out on a huge story that we could tell during the train journey, because some of these train stations are more than 100 years old, and then they would be going through some of the rainforest, beautiful, right next to beautiful waterfalls, then national parks. There's so much that the train butler can explain, and on top of that, he would be carrying the cups and saucers, and then serving them tea and coffee, giving them some refreshments, and then snacks as well. Okay, so this is the stage number 13. So like I said before, after stage number 4, we are jumping into stage number 13. So we are recommending guests to stay over at Totalagala. Why? Because stage number 13 goes right in front of Totalagala. So if you are staying over at Totalagala, you can shave off like 4 kilometers of the entire hike. But if you don't, then of course you can start from the city of Haputale and then do the whole hike, which is 13.5 kilometers. Sorry. And while you're hiking, you will be visiting a Hindu temple. And then most of you might have heard Lipton seat, but there is a St. Catherine's seat as well. Sorry. And this is where I told you that we will be backtracking. So the day before, we would be staying in Totalagala, and then for this night also, we will be coming back to Totalagala because of the accommodation levels that we have. Sorry, I'm having a cough. So this is Totalagala, a very colonial bungalow, really beautiful and amazing views as well. So just like you saw from the other picture, they have an outdoor pool as well, not heated. The weather changes very quickly at Totalagala actually, and also in Haputale. So it is more like Scottish weather. So 1 minute it could be like very clear, you can see all the mountains, and then in the next minute it could be like fog all over. you can't see the person standing next to you. So even though that happens, the hike that we have here is very safe because it's not going through very uneven paths. We are sticking to the normal route. Okay, stage number 14. So St. Catherine's to Makulalla, another odd name. So here we are doing, because on the day before, we hiked all the way to St. Catherine's Seat, and then we came back to Totlagala. And on this day, we would be driving past part of the hike that we did the day before, and then moving on to the St. Catherine's Seat. And today, the guests would be seeing villages, temples, farms, tea plantations, and historic buildings while they are hiking. So Haputale is the highest point, one of the highest points in Sri Lanka, where you have hotels and hiking trails. So from the entire hiking trail of Pekoe, this has one of the best views because you're at a very highly elevated place in the country. 9.3 kilometers, it would take around 3.5 to 4 hours. And then for this night, your guest would be staying over at Dutch House, Bandaravela, which is a 2-bedroom property. So this is a very easy hike actually. So this is the 2-bedroom bungalow. So it has to be booked exclusively. They have 1-bedroom rates and 2-bedroom rates. I wouldn't sell this as a 5-star luxury, but still it is a boutique product that we have. It is in the city of Bandaravela. So as you can see, the 2 rooms are in the attic. One is a double and the other one is a twin. So for families, it's ideal as well. And then they have an indoor swimming pool as well, which is another value addition. Okay, stage number 15. So this is going from Makulalla to Alla. So now we are coming to the famous names of Alla. So as you can see, some of these places go through very remote areas, and then it comes back into the famous areas as well. So the thought process behind this is, so you would be exploring something that had never been explored by other tourists, and also making sure in the meantime that you would not be losing out on the main highlights like the Alla, the Demodara, the Horton Plains, those type of things. So yes, when you're starting the hike from Makulalla, then there is a beautiful valley that you can see. So down that valley, there is a river that gives birth to the Ravana Falls. So if you have visited Sri Lanka, you might have, if you have driven from Alla to Yala, you would have passed Ravana Falls, which is one of the famous stops for this drive. And this Ravana Falls, the birth of that Ravana Falls is from the river that you will be seeing today. And of course, the forest areas and the tea bushes will remain in the hike. And then the famous Alla Rock will be explored during this stage as well. And then the guests will come to a railway station called Kitalalla. Kitalalla is a railway station before Alla. And then the guests would experience something different actually. So this is going to be a railway hike. So of course we will be checking the times that the trains will be coming, but there is so much enough space on the sides that we do not have to walk on the railway line. So it is a walk from Kitalalla railway station to Alla railway station. We would be deviating into off-road as well a little bit. And the beauty is that the Alla railway station is more than 100 years old. So the whole hike and the trail would take around 10.1 kilometers, which is going to take about 3 to 3.5 hours. And this experience can be done during sunrise as well. And you will have to wake up a little bit early, which is around 4:30 in the morning. And the guests would be staying over at 98 acres. I think most of you might have heard 98 acres. So this is 98 acres. They have the standard rooms, and then the top left picture shows of one of their highest room categories where the rooms have private plunge pools. And then the photo on the right, top right picture shows the interior of that room with the private plunge pool. So if you have any very high-end guests, then of course you can go for these room categories. So the negative thing about 98 acres is because it is very famous. lots of locals travel here for their honeymoon, and most of the time it is full. So, but still we have our ways. We try to get availability from the hotel. So if we can find availability, then this is a good hotel. And then we would have to keep the clients informed. Since it is very popular, the hotel could be full most of the time. Okay, so stage number 16, which is the 8th and last stage of the Pekoe Trail that we are focusing on, is from Alla to Demodar. So Alla is where we stayed over the night before, and then we would be going into the Nine Arch Bridge. So the picture that you're looking at is from below of the Nine Arch Bridge. So again, this is not for people who have walking disabilities, because there is no steps going in. So you have to be adventurous, you have to hold on to the trees, and then you have to climb down. So it is not recommended for smaller kids as well, because it could be slippery. And the good thing, the interesting thing about this railway line, the bridge, is because during the World War, because when British joined the World War, Sri Lanka was a colony of Britain. So therefore, naturally, Sri Lanka also joined the World War. So all the steel brought into Sri Lanka, and then steel didn't come into Sri Lanka because of the World War. So hence a local architect came up with this bridge where no steel was used, and it had been standing for the last 102 years. So it is one of the highlights of the train journey, which is the Nine Arch Bridge. And after the Nine Arch Bridge, we would be going uphill and then walking through some chaina cultivations, going through some tea estates, and then we would be coming into the Demodara tea estate. So the interesting part about the Demodar railway station is because when the British were creating the railway lines in Sri Lanka, like more than 100 years ago, there was this area where it was very hard for the railway line to climb. So the climb would be beyond what they would recommend. So one engineer was smart enough. What he did was he created a loop. So he dug into the mountain, and through the mountain he created a loop so that the train would circle back and then come to the correct elevation. So that's why it is called Demodar Loop. And then there is a tunnel that train goes through the mountain and then comes out of the other side as well. It's very beautiful. And it's a shorter hike compared to the others, 8.7 kilometers, which would take around 3.5 hours. And then we would finish off that day at Nine Skies, as you know, which is all-inclusive bungalow by the Teardrop guys, and its difficulty index is between easy to moderate. So this is Nine Skies, 5 bedrooms, once again another beautifully located property, outdoor pool, not heated. They have one double and one twin next to each other, which can be used for a family. And then they have a door on the corridor where you can shut off and make it into a 2-bedroom unit. And then the Alla Rock Suite can take up to 2 additional beds as well, where the sofa areas will be converted into additional beds. Okay, so I thought I would just throw in this slide as well. So his name is Johan Peris. So he is the first and only man in Sri Lanka to have climbed Mount Everest. So he is signed up with us through one of our suppliers, and then we can bring him into this Pekoe Trail journey and also to the other hikes as well. So he has an amazing story to tell, because it was not a bed of roses as you might have imagined climbing Mount Everest, because 400 meters from the summit he had to turn back because his oxygen tank failed. And then I mean, like, it would have been an amazing a great disappointment for him, but still he had the will to go back, and then he climbed the summit. And then he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and all the other main mountains in the world. So he would be your guest's guide, and then hiking naturalist, walking right next to your guest, sharing his amazing journeys, and then talking about hiking in Sri Lanka, what to do, what not to do. So for the very high-end guests, of course, you would imagine there is a cost for him to come on this journey as well. So for a high-end guest, he could be an option as well. So since we were talking about hiking trails, I thought I would put in another couple of hiking locations as well. Knuckles Mountain Range is one of them, and then the Adams Peak. So why I didn't put Horton Plains is because Horton Plains is part of the Pekoe Trail. So that part is up and running, but still there is no connectivity for the next part. So that's why just rather than just having the Horton Plains part there, I thought we'll wait for the other stages also to develop so that we can dish out Horton Plains as well. Anyway, Horton Plains can be done by anybody without any guidance. So just thought I would just, for anybody who doesn't know about Hummingbird Travel, how we operate on the ground, couple of quick slides to showcase how we operate on the ground. We have Range Rovers, Monteros, and Prados, and then we do have the standard SUVs as well. And then for families, we have the luxury vans, which is a Mercedes-Benz Vito, and then the deluxe vans for the families beyond 5 people. And we do use Vetu itineraries where we can white label the whole itinerary. Nothing about Hummingbird will be mentioned here. So it's a very interactive itinerary with photos, a lot of information so that you can send this entire web link to your clients. And then the guides that we are using, for Pekoe Trail, we will be using naturalists. And then there will be wildlife guides who will be doing the driving part as well. And we train them every 6 months, which is a company policy. So whatever the changes that happen during that 6 months, we'll be training them, reminding them what needs to be done, what not needs to be done. And then we are focused on not using any single-use plastic. All the water bottles that we're using are glass. And yes, so every tour that you book with us, we are keeping a part of that profit to donate to a place called SOS Children's Village. You can type it into Google and it will show you all the details about the orphanage. So when you book a tour with us, we are donating part of that money for the orphan children, for their accommodation, meals, then studies, clothing. And then if you want to do more for the local communities, then of course, see the thing is like in certain parts of rural Sri Lanka, it's still I would say old school, because women are supposed to be staying at home, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids. So some of them want to do jobs, but still they don't have the education to do anything. So what we are doing is, through a local foundation, we are sponsoring education for them how to sew, a sewing class. And then if you want to go a step further, we can donate a sewing machine for them as well, so that they can be independent and make a living for themselves. So that's about it. So there is so much more information about the hikes, the points, and everything. So if you are interested in knowing about those things, let me know. I can share the details, and how you can use only specific stages into an itinerary. Just talk to me, and then we can figure out itineraries. So I just put one itinerary there because all these itineraries are customizable. So let me know if you need more information.
Thanks, Sanka. We just had someone ask if you could show one of the first slides that has the whole itinerary on one slide with all the different hotels. So yeah, I was also going to say that I'll do a follow-up newsletter either tomorrow or next week with the recording, and I'll send a link to the full presentation so you can use information from it. And yeah, anything else you can ask us. Oh, someone said that it's excellent information, very interesting. That's a good feedback. If anyone else has any other questions, definitely let us know. But yeah, as Sanka said, basically everything we do is we can tailor make anything. So if you have something extra that your clients might want, or a slightly different kind of experience of something, definitely let us know, because yeah, Sanka's an expert obviously on everything, so he can tailor make anything to what your clients want, which is really good. So yeah, I don't think any more questions, but you can always let us know if you have any other questions by emailing us afterwards. But yeah, apart from that, thanks so much for presenting today, Sanka. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll hopefully speak to everyone and see you all very soon.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.